Hey guys, it's Brittany. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing another year in video for 2019. In the year of 2019 I read 35 books and that was just over 11,000 pages total. I was really lucky because out of the 35 that I read I only disliked about 3 or 4. So that was refreshing, and some of them I didn't even wholeheartedly hate. I was just expecting more. Maybe they were like really hyped up or something, and so I ended up being a little disappointed and let down. But without further ado, I'm going to get into the list. Okay, the first book that I want to talk about is one that I listened to on audio, and it was a book club pick for my real life book club. It was a thriller, which is already a genre that I don't really gravitate to. I don't ever choose thrillers. Sometimes I am surprised and I really like them, but not always. This one was called The Secret She Keeps by Michael Robotham, and there was just not much that I did find redeeming in this book. I didn't care. Honestly, 100%, that was the main issue for me, is that I didn't care about these characters. Their two characters are women. Both of them are pregnant. One is kind of like better off. She's a family blogger. She's married, and she already has 2 other children. And the other woman that we follow is kind of the opposite of her. She works at a grocery store. She's not married. This will be her first birth. And she also is already secretly kind of a fan of the mommy blogger, and she kind of idolizes her life, and she sees her come in from time to time to the grocery store where she works and kind of develops a little bit of like an obsession with her, and we just kind of go from there, and we see them, their paths intertwine, and maybe kind of develop a friendship. And then of course all the other things that always happen in domestic thrillers happen in this book. My number one huge roaring complaint about this book is that it is so obvious that it was written by a man. I just, why can't men write women? Like, what, or I guess we're extremely complex, I don't know. But I mean, the motivations of these women, their behaviors, even the way that they talked, I was just like, okay, like clearly a man wrote this. This is his idea of what a woman would do or how she would act, because this is completely inauthentic and unrealistic. And I really just hated the characters. They're all bad people. Like, I don't even feel like I would want to know them in real life, the men or the women in the story. They're just not good. I saw the twist coming. I figured it out way before the end, and I was kind of hoping that I would be wrong, but I was not. I was correct. And then the ending, it's like this huge build, and then it was just like, okay, it's over now. And you're just like, what? Like, where's the fallout from these choices? Where are the repercussions? But then you're like, never mind, I actually don't care because I didn't like this book. So yeah, I can't remember if I gave this 1 star or 2 stars. I've been really weary of giving books 1 star. It's hard for me because I'm like, well, I finished it, so I guess that gets it 2 stars. But honestly, if I didn't give this 1 star, I should probably go and change it because that's how I feel about it. Okay, the next book I want to talk about is one that I'm going to say it was absolutely 100% the most disappointing book of the year for me. I was so excited about it. Actually, I've seen this on a lot of people's most disappointing reads, but surprisingly on some people's favorites, which, man, I wish that was my my takeaway from this book, because I really wanted to like it. I went in just ready to love it and for it to be my favorite book. And I was like hate reading it towards the end. And that book is The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh. And I was so excited because we got vampires, which I'm an OG Buffy fan from when I was younger. I love vampires, man. Who doesn't? Come on. Yeah, I love Lestat. I love Interview with the Vampire. I love it all. I love vampires. I was so excited. Not only were there hardly, okay, well, I said there were vampires, but they were not overt vampires. Like, the story wasn't a vampire story, okay? It was a story where this girl was like, they do all these things that vampires do. I wonder what they are. But do they even say they were a vampire? I really don't know. And I don't even think all of them are vampires, because some of them have like weird like powers. I don't know. The book is about a girl who I really wanted to like, Celine. She is from Paris. She does something awful, so she gets on a ship in the 1800s and comes over to New Orleans, Louisiana, to live in a convent and kind of escape her past and start over. She has to kind of work to pay her stay there, but you know, they are going to help her find a marriage. That's what she's there for. And basically, it's like one of those like insta love. She sees him, and although she hates him for no reason at all because he looks like a jerk, she also is obsessed with him and thinks about him 24/7. And that's our other character. And I think, what is his name? I don't even remember his name. Sebastian? Bastian? I don't remember. I guess I could look it up, but I don't care. So that's the guy. He's rich. He runs the town because his dad and mom and uncle or whatever were rich. So his uncle set him up to run New Orleans for him while he's like living somewhere else. And she encounters him at his headquarters or whatever with his posse, and they're called the Court of the Lions in French. You do not want to hear me try to speak French, so I will spare you that. But I don't know, this just had so much promise. I love Renee Audier. I love The Wrath and the Dawn. I love that duology. I think her writing is normally so beautiful, but I was so annoyed with it this entire book. Like, my God, I love description, I love imagery, and I love flowery writing to an extent, and when it is helpful. This was just like, okay, there's nothing of substance happening, so I'm going to describe the way the street looks and the way this dude looks 8,000 times. And it's just like, we got it. He's hot. We got it. She's beautiful. And I'm so bummed because this girl sounds so beautiful to me. She's like part, I think it's Korean. I don't think they say, you know, that she's an Asian character, half Asian, and she like hid that part, but she has green eyes. So the whole time I'm sitting there picturing Chloe from, you know, Books of Chloe, and I'm like, man, this girl is beautiful. I'm rooting for this. I love a Korean main character. I love historical fiction. I love New Orleans. I went to New Orleans on my honeymoon and did all the ghosty, you know, historical stuff. I'm a history major in school. I love all of these things. This book on paper should have been like written for me, and I can honestly say that 100%. No. I cannot recommend this book. I'm so bummed out. I barely made it through. Like I said, I ended up just like reading it to see what else I hated about it at the end. God, the plot was barely there, which normally, whatever, like I said, I love character-driven novels. That doesn't bother me. But the characters were so flat. They were so boring. Like, I don't understand why the two main characters liked each other. I don't get it. We didn't see very much of that at all. We didn't see very much development, very much interaction, other than them like literally hating each other for no reason. And then she just kept talking about how he like made her, I mean, he called to her bad side, and like, oh, she's just so wild and crazy. And I was like, what? Like, where? You're telling us this a lot, but honestly, she seems to just do nothing and be bland and boring. For a book that was literally like perfect to me in synopsis, the actual execution was extremely disappointing. I don't know that I'm going to pick up the sequel, The Damned, which, The Beautiful and The Damned, come on. But maybe. I think I'm going to wait for reviews, because I purposely avoided all reviews for The Beautiful because I did not want to be swayed or influenced, and if I had just watched a couple of reviews instead of just being really excited and putting my blinders on, I probably wouldn't have been so excited, and maybe I actually would have enjoyed it slightly more. Probably not. But yeah, do not recommend. Okay, so something happened as I was editing, and I discovered that my rant about my least favorite book of the year got deleted. So if the lighting looks a little bit different, that's why. It's much later, but I mean, I needed to complain about this book. So this book was a book club pick. Again, the only reason I did not DNF it, because I really hated it. I hated everything about it. My friend even offered to just tell me what happened so that I could just be done with the book and get rid of it. I should have taken her up on that offer because I ended up hating it, I think, more than I thought I was going to, because there was just no payoff at the end. And that book is called The Immortal List by Chloe Benjamin. Now, I've heard that her other book or books are better. I know one in particular, I can't remember the title of it, but I know that Olive from a book Olive had talked about it before, so I thought, oh, well, this one's fine to start with because the cover is so pretty and, you know, it sounds interesting. The premise is it's about a group of siblings who are tight-knit, and when they're young they hear about this lady that lives in their neighborhood who can tell you the date that you're going to die. So they decide to go together and I'll figure out what date they're going to die. So she tells each of them this, you know, they take it with them. Some of them are open about their date, some of them never speak their date, but it just is kind of a generational tale about over the next decades how they deal with this and how it affects or doesn't affect their lives. So my main problem with this is just the characters were just awful. I know you don't have to be a likable character for the book to be good, but man, the book wasn't good on top of it, and the characters were just horrible people. You just don't care about any of them. I mean, I didn't care what happened to them. So when the whole plot of the story is literally just what happens to these characters, there's just no reason for me to read this book because they're just awful people, all of them. Even the one at the end who's supposed to be like the redeeming one, I don't care. I did not like her. I don't think her story was great. I don't think her ending was great. The only characters that were at all interesting to me were the side characters. One of the characters' daughters and her husband, I really was interested in their story, and they seemed normal and like not self-obsessed. But yeah, the main problem I have with this family of characters is just how self-centered and just like woe is me they all are. They're all just constantly talking about how hard they have it and how bad things happen in their family, and like they literally do not even think about the trials and stuff that every other character they come into contact with has also dealt with, because that person doesn't openly complain about every little thing that's ever happened to them in their family like this family does. They're just awful. I don't know that I ever want to read another book by Chloe Benjamin, regardless of how good people say it is, because this just left a bad taste in my mouth, and I was just forcing myself to get through it so that I could participate in the discussion and book club. But I think it was kind of unanimous that none of us were a fan of this book. God, it was so boring, you guys. Like, I was falling asleep reading it, and normally I don't do that, but yeah. So The Immortal List, most hated book of the year. I don't know what I gave it, a 1 or a 2 star, but if it's 2, I need to go and change it to 1, because the longer away from it I am, the more I realize how much I really hated it. Okay guys, that does it for my least favorite reads and most disappointing reads of 2019. Like I said, I had a really good reading year, and all in all it was only about 9% of the books I read that I really didn't like. So yeah, if you guys liked this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more, please subscribe. I promise I will keep putting out content the best that I can. And if you guys loved one of these books and you think I'm wrong, please comment and tell me which book it was so we can talk about it, and tell me what your least favorite reads were for the year, and I'll let you know if I think you're wrong. But yeah, I appreciate you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!